Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video, doing the GWV Sunday Round-Up for today's second video. It's a little bit of a shortened Sunday Round-Up because I'm running very late this morning. Now, what's happened here at GWV Towers is that the burglar alarm is having a nervous breakdown. So, if you hear a bleeping going off in the background, it's very annoying. It's a warning us about low batteries. So we've got to get on to that. But for the time being, can't do anything about it till we locate which battery needs to be replaced. And with this system, there's all kinds of batteries all over the place. So the upshot is, in the background, there's probably going to be a high-pitched, loud bleeping noise that you're going to find very irritating and annoying. I'm sorry about that. There's nothing we can do about it until tomorrow. We're just going to have to make do with that. So sorry about that. You can hear this high pitch warning bleep in the background. So that's been causing all sorts of problems here this morning. So I'm running late. So that means that the Sunday Roundup has got to be shortened down. So I will get on with GWV Sunday Roundup for you in a minute. Just say that today's first video was the 5th Autumn Analogs update. That video is here on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a little bit and you'll be able to find a button account. Later on today, that video will be placed on the Autumn Updates and Forecast page. There'll be a written summary that goes out as well. And also coming up this afternoon, and it'll be bleep free as well, no noise in the background, will be the long-range update from the GWV and Meteo France seasonal model. So you'll be able to have a look at that this afternoon. That'll be around 5 o'clock this afternoon. That's taking us through to the end of the year with the GWV and Meteo France long-range models. Right, so that's everything that I'm going to tell you. Get on with the Sunday Roundup. Then we're going to start off by having a look at solar activity. So this is the latest in terms of solar disk on our side of the disk today from solarham.net. We find that we have got a little sunspot, just appeared. We've had a long run of no sunspots whatsoever, but just in the last few hours, a brand new sunspot has appeared on the solar disk on our side of the disk. However, solar activity is at very, very low levels and is expected to remain at very low levels for the next 3 days at least. This is GWV Sunday Roundup solar activity tracker updated to yesterday. So this has been sent through to us by our good friend James Ackwill. Big thanks to James for sending this through as always. And as I say, we have been in a long run of very minimal low level of solar activity. We've had back to July, back to the start of July into the early part of June, we have actually had quite a run of spotless days. You see here with this orange line, kind of like flatlining along the bottom of the chart, telling us no sunspots at all. Where we've got these spikes, that's where we have got increases in sunspot numbers. So we've had this prolonged spell of no sunspots on the solar disk, and so that's moving the trend lines, the thick green and thick red lines. They're heading south big time, have had a bit of a crash in solar activity over the past few days. So we're at a very, very low level of solar activity now, caused by this long run. I think it's been around 3-week run of no sunspots. That's come to an end though, because we have had, as I just showed you, have had a sunspot appear on the solar disk just in the past few hours for today. However, really low levels of solar activity, and this is expected to remain the case over the next few weeks and months, because we are going into solar minimum very, very quickly now. We are heading down into solar minimum, probably going to arrive to solar minimum in around a year or so's time. So we can expect these periods without any sunspots to get longer and longer over the next few months. So we, as I say, we are at a very, very low level of solar activity now. big thank you to James for sending through the solar tracker. You'll see more about it in the next few weeks. So these are the ocean sea surface temperature anomalies of the oceans. This is how things were looking last week. We did last week, Sunday Round. Got the Pacific Ocean over there, and the Atlantic Ocean is over there. Three areas we're specifically interested in. We've got the ENSO region here through the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean. Northern Pacific is up there, and then the Northern Atlantic Ocean is over there. Let's deal with the ENSO region first of all. So this is how the ENSO region was looking when we did last week's Sunday Roundup. Let's have a look at the very latest from NOAA, and this is it. So very little change actually in the past week. Maybe a little bit more warming of the sea surface temperature anomalies occurring over towards the Peruvian side of the equatorial Pacific, just there, but generally not much change has taken place in the equatorial Pacific Ocean over the past week. So we're at ENSO neutral, starting to try and shift our way towards very weak El Nino condition. We're going to do the latest ENSO update on Friday, so you'll see that on Friday. See whether we are still on course to go into an El Nino through the second half of this year. In terms of the Northern Pacific Ocean, that situation last week, this situation now, very little change there. And in the Atlantic, so again, very little change really, all quite stable. We've still got this cold area in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean to the south of Greenland. Still quite cool as well, with those sea surface temperature anomalies through the tropical Atlantic Ocean, and then in between it still remains quite warm through the central part of the Atlantic Ocean. So we still have the reverse tripole of cool, warm and cool sea surface temperature anomalies from the Northern Atlantic through to the Central Atlantic through to the tropical Atlantic. Notice very warm sea surface temperature anomalies again around the UK and the Bay of Biscay. That all indicative of the hot summer that we have been experiencing. Those are shallow waters, and they are prone to very rapid temperature changes with the weather. So when weather starts to cool down, those sea surface temperature anomalies around the UK will cool down. But for the moment, in those shallow waters, they are warm sea surface temperature anomalies due to the hot summer. Right, so this is the GFS temperature and precipitation on solar chart for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Sheffield up in the north of England. Today, the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Sheffield. We find that we're much warmer than average at the moment. As I say, been saying in videos lately, we are in a very warm to hot spell of weather. We're going to keep it warm through to the end of the week. The GFS has backed off the very extreme temperatures that it was hinting at yesterday. It's backed away from that to some degree. We're going to keep temperatures into the upper 20s to low 30s through to the end of the week, probably not getting into the mid 30s Celsius at the end of the week. The core of the heat probably just passes to the east of us on sort of Friday. But it will still be very warm to hot, and there is still a possibility of bringing up that those very high temperatures. But at the moment, GFS just backed out of that a little bit. So keep it very warm to hot through to the end of the week, and then going into next weekend with a little bit of a cool down going on then. Through the first week of August, it looks like the temperatures are lifting up again though, so the heat probably has not done with us by any means. So even if this heat wave at the end of the week isn't quite as hot as it looked like it would be yesterday, for the first week of August we may well see another go against some very high temperatures into the UK. Far as precipitation is concerned with the GFS ensembles, so fair amount of dry weather in Sheffield over the next week. There will be some rainfall at times, not all that much, mainly in the form of showers. At the weekend, it perhaps turns a little bit more unsettled then, over the weekend into the start of the following week. And we have got some rainfall spikes through the first week of August as well. A lot of this is very showery stuff though, so it'll be a situation of hit and miss downpours, hit and miss thunderstorms, nothing definitively wet at this point, and staying very warm is a basic idea. Service temperatures for Sheffield look like this, so that's 30 degrees just there, 20 degrees just there. These undercut the temperatures a bit, so we're going to be in the upper 20s Celsius for Northern England through the rest of this week. Next weekend, the temperature does lower a little bit, and there may be signs that it's starting to lift up again through the first week of August. Temperature anomalies look very warm in the week ahead, so again, for the UK, for Ireland, for most parts of Europe, coming out much warmer than average once more. Precipitation anomalies look like that. Again, pretty dry really, especially so for western and southwestern parts of the country. It's a little bit more unsettled over in the east of the country. East of Scotland, northeastern parts of England has precipitation just ever so slightly above average. But again, this is down to heavy showers, hit and miss thunderstorms, so even within those areas, several places can be expected to stay dry. Let's talk you through the generic charts then. So this is how the GFS is looking for Wednesday, when we've got this ridge across the country. So we keep it mostly dry and very warm up to Wednesday. Now Thursday and Friday is when we was expected to bring that very extreme heat into the south and southeast of the country. Now you'll notice what this particular latest one of the GFS is doing. It's actually restricting the worst of the heat just to our east in that sort of position, so through France, Belgium, Holland and into Germany. Now it is still very warm to hot for southern and eastern parts of the UK, so with that we're still getting temperatures upper 20s to low 30s Celsius, but the core of the heat wave is a little bit to our east, so just gives us a little bit of a glancing blow perhaps at the end of the week from that heat, but the worst of it is over across central parts of Europe. This is an ongoing situation though, where it's chopping and changing still, so I wouldn't totally rule out we might get some very high temperatures coming up at the end of the week, but at the moment it looks as though the worst of that is being shifted just that little bit to our east. There's the upper air temperatures for Friday. And again, you see the worst of the heat is through France, into Belgium, Holland, and into Germany. Don't get me wrong, it is still very warm down in the southeast. So we are still talking about temperatures low 30 Celsius at the end of the week, 31, 32. Certainly probable with that in the southeast, 90 Fahrenheit. Notice it is turning cooler, though, out to the north and to the west of the country. And then that takes us into next weekend, where these cooler temperatures are then moving in from off the Atlantic. Again, the worst of the heat is generally to the east of the UK on Saturday next week, as these cooler, fresher temperatures are moving in from the west. A lot of high pressure influences continuing through the south and the east of the country through next weekend. Always more unsettled out to the northwest with these areas of low pressures. These low pressures really matters cause the core of that heat wave to be shunted back a little bit further to the east of the UK. We're going to the more extended range running up towards day 10. That's how we look. So sort of alternating between high pressure and lower pressure. So that's Monday, for example. We've got some low pressure up to the northwest, but high pressure is down to the southeast. That's Tuesday, 31st of July. We've just generally got quite weak pressure across the country. And then that's Wednesday, 1st of August, where the high pressure is re-establishing again across the country, bringing a lot of dry and very warm conditions with it. Again, very extreme heat to the south and the east of the UK with the upper air temperatures at day 10. Only a subtle adjustment will start to bring that heat into the UK. So we certainly can't rule out, before this summer is done, we certainly can't rule out getting a very extreme burst of heat, I don't think, with the way the continent is just so very hot this summer. But at the moment, up to the 1st of August, the worst of that continues to be kept just to the south and to the east of the UK. In the extended range of the GFS run, looks a little bit more unsettled today, actually, through this first week of August. So definitely no heat wave going on there. That's how we finish up right at the very end on Tuesday the 7th of August. Again, it's a mixed bag, so we've got high pressure ridging through the country, very complicated charts to interpret, but the upshot is that still the core of the heat, the worst of the heat, is kept away from us, kept at bay over on the continent. So you don't like hot weather, we get very, very lucky with this GFS running, that we managed to just keep it away from us throughout, really, the worst of the heat anyway. This is the ECMWF, and it's looking like that. So, again, Wednesday, we've got this ridge over country, a lot of dry, very warm weather, Wednesday to Thursday. So, Thursday, that's Thursday through to Friday, we're bringing up these southerly winds again. They're quite hot, particularly for the south and southeast. Not as hot as the GFS was showing yesterday, but even so, I'm talking about temperatures into below 30 Celsius. Also quite unstable with this low pressure out to west of the country that might be bringing in heavy showers and thunderstorms from off the Atlantic. We go into the more extended range. That's how we look a week away, Sunday 29th of July. So this ridge has been rebuilding over the country next weekend. So that's bringing a lot of dry weather and slightly cooler and fresher feel as well. Then we go through into towards day 10, and that's how we look. So again, sort of alternating between lower pressure, for example, there on Tuesday the 31st of July, we've got some lower pressure out to the northwest of Scotland with some high pressure down to the south, and then by day 10, which is Wednesday the 1st of August, we have this ridge building across the country once again. So overall it does remain a very high pressure dominated scene. There's a lot of high pressure around, just a little bit more unsettled for the north and west especially at times, and temperatures still very warm to locally hot, particularly so in the south and the southeast. Then finally, we've got the GEM, and that's how we look on Wednesday with a lot of high pressure across the country through to the end of next week. So with this one, we're keeping that low pressure just a little bit further away from us through to the end of the week. So consequently, this is actually pulling up some really quite high temperatures into the south and the east of the country. We go into next weekend, and again, we have got high pressure dominating generally to the east of the country. So this is the drier, hotter solution for the end of the coming week and into next weekend. There's the upper air temperatures. They look a lot hotter for next weekend than the GFS and the ECMWF do at the same time frame. So this end of the week to next weekend period is still not totally sorted out. Although particularly the GFS has backed away from pulling up this very extreme heat at the end of the week and next weekend. It's not totally off the table. It's not totally a done deal that we won't get these very high temperatures. The GEM is still showing it. That's taking temperatures, I think, to the mid-30s Celsius in the southeast next weekend. So the risk is still there, but it's a diminished risk compared to what we were seeing yesterday with the GFS. Then we go through towards the end of the month. So this is Monday 30th of July, and we're bringing low pressure in from off the Atlantic. That's bringing showers or longer spells of rain with it, and we finish up at day 10 and cooler fresher coming in with that as well. Finish up at day 10 on Wednesday the 1st of August, and low pressure is in control there, or lower pressure is in control, I suppose I should say. Upper air temperatures show cooler air is starting to head in from off the Atlantic as we're losing the worst of the very extreme heat being pushed away into central and eastern parts of Europe. There's probably a thundery breakdown, big thundery breakdown that goes on there, by the way, from Sunday the 29th to Monday 30th of July. This low pressure will probably produce big thunderstorms before it starts to cool down. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag this morning, a little bit confusing with the model output, really. They have backed away, or the GFS definitely has backed away from that very extreme heat at the end of the week. Will still be hot, though. Temperatures into below 30 Celsius for the southeast. And the GEM is still going with that idea of really high temperatures at the end of the week through to next weekend. So we can't totally take it off the table at this stage. But it's a diminished risk. So if you don't like hot weather, we have had some good news with these model runs, because the worst about heat, it did look quite alarming actually how hot the temperatures were getting when we did yesterday's updates. Backed away from that quite a bit overnight with model runs, but overall still warm to hot, particularly so for the south and southeast over the next few days. A lot of dry weather as well. There will be some heavy showers and thunderstorms. They get more widespread at the end of the week, I think, before we go probably into drier conditions next weekend. And then that first week of August, which I haven't really touched upon all that much for this video, but that first week of August could produce something really quite hot once again. So as I say, if we get through this summer without having a burst of extreme heat, I think we'll be quite lucky, because the continent is very hot now, and all it takes is for things to line up and we will pull up those hot temperatures from central and southern parts of Europe. So let's just wait and see what's going to happen over the next week or two. But as I say, model output this morning has backed off a little bit the very high temperatures that we were seeing yesterday. Right, short and sunny round, because I've been running very late, trying to sort out all of the things going on with the burglar alarm here at Gaz Towers. So that's it for Sunday Roundup. Don't forget to check out the autumn analogues update. It's here on the homepage. Just have a look at that when you're done with this video. And this afternoon we've got that long range update from the E70UF and Meteo France. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.